I like a boogaba, I like a boogaba, I like a boogaba, I like a boogaba, hey, boogaba, ba boogaba, I like a boogaba, ba boogaba, ooh boogaba, ooh boogaba, ooh boogaba. Oh boy. Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another comically long review. Let's take a second to talk about the Power Rangers movie. No, not that one. Yuck, no. Let's not talk about that for now. Though, don't put reviewing that one past me. There you go. The 2017 Power Rangers movie was the fulfillment of a promise by Haim Saban when Saban Brands repurchased the property from Disney. The movie was either mildly successful or mildly disappointing, depending on your views on the franchise in general. It had a strong opening weekend, but sadly faded pretty quickly after that. However, the core fan base really seemed to embrace the film, and in fact, when it came out on DVD, it topped those sales charts for something like 2 months, an impressive period. Fans really loved the fleshed out versions of the original show's characters, Elizabeth Banks' creepy turn as Rita Repulsa, and well, no, nobody liked Goldar. The movie took a beloved winged monkey character and turned him into the inside of a grilled cheese sandwich. Fans immediately began clamoring for a sequel, especially with the little hook tease we got at the end of the first film of Tommy Oliver being announced at detention. Now that Saban Brands has sold the franchise to Hasbro, those clamors have begun anew. Even though the sale makes it rather unlikely that Hasbro, who has its own film arm, Allspark Pictures, would instead work with another company, Lionsgate, in continuing the franchise. However, heroes, did you know that we already got a sequel to that movie? Yes, a continuation to the story that we were all so fond of. Now, you're probably wondering how you missed that. The casting announcements about the new characters, pre-sales for the movie tickets, the release date. That's because it wasn't a movie. No, not any sort of animated special, nothing direct to DVD, not even a special episode of the TV show. This is a comically long review, remember? I review sequential art on this show, and today, I've got a graphic novel for you. So find a safe spot in a doorframe and hunker down. The Power Rangers movie in 2017 may have been an earthquake for the fandom, but now it's time to prepare for the Power Rangers Aftershock. The cover to this graphic novel is a little plain, to be honest. It's mainly just the logo of the book, and then the Rangers standing against what at first seems to be a plain background. I do like their suits still, even though the beltless thing kind of throws me off a little bit. A weird kind of detail is, and as weird as this is going to sound to say, if you look between the Rangers' legs, you can see kind of white circuitry paths against the black background. I think this is supposed to imply that the Rangers are standing in the command center, but it's such a small, tiny detail to notice that I'm not sure why they bothered. Also, Trini is kind of Escher Girl posed, and that's not really cool. A weird thing is that Jason's sort of blocking her butt, so it doesn't even really make sense why they have her standing like that, but looking at her feet, you can definitely tell that she's twisted around. Zach and Billy are looking at her, wondering if her back feels right twisting around that way. So, where does this happy, shiny graphic novel story open? Angel Grove Central Park Refugee Camp, 1 week after the encounter. A woman is begging this officer, Chief Colton, for information about her son, but he sends her to the missing persons tent. An officer approaches and wants to tell him something, but he doesn't think he has time. But oh, he does. It turns out an entire fleet of relief trucks have arrived, with more coming. The thing is, it's not the Red Cross, but a private organization called Samaritan Relief. I found myself kind of wondering if this was parodying Franklin Graham's organization, Samaritan's Purse. Anyway, the officer asks what they should do, but Colton's not looking a gift horse in the mouth. As long as they aren't more reporters or alien looky-loos. Does he mean people looking for aliens or aliens looking for people? Both are actually possible in this universe. We lay out the welcome mat. As if on cue, this woman, Melanie Shear, appears. She apologizes for the delay, but she says she had to pull resources from 4 states and the Mississippi flood. With that kind of direct reference, you better believe I checked. And guess what? There were floods along the Mississippi River in 2017. Nice. The reference, I mean, not the flooding. Moving on. She asked how many displaced they're dealing with. Little under 1,000. Hotels and schools are full, and FEMA is tapped out.
Man's practicing fuzzy math again.
So we're talking about multiple hotels who can each probably hold at least a couple of hundred people, especially if you have those people double or triple up. Even assuming Angel Grove only has 1 high school and 1 middle school, each of them should have a gymnasium, possibly an auditorium, not to mention the hallways and classrooms. Then you include FEMA, a national government organization, and you're dealing with less than 1,000 refugees and you don't have any more room? Give me a break! Give me a break! It's our own little version of Katrina, just with giant monsters. Don't say that! I'm not sure if I should find that line offensive. It feels slightly insensitive in a work of fiction, even if it is reflecting reality. Anyway, Melanie says they've got everything they need and they just need to point to where they can set up. Colton says basically anywhere is fine, and he'll make sure they have total access to the camp. And that is exactly what Melanie wanted. In a rather quick reveal, just 5 comic frames from her introduction, she reveals she has not exactly sinister intentions, but secretive plans, shall we say. She calls to someone listening and asks for a full scan of the area. What about tactical? Full alert.
Red alert! All hands to battle stations!
She commands plainclothes spotters to be integrated into the refugee population to begin gathering intel. She says they have 3 days before the hard questions start getting asked, and calls for the beginning of Phase 1. So, let's listen to Jason talk about football for some reason. My first start at quarterback wasn't what you'd call great. At the end of the first half, we had more injuries than points. The cheerleaders had all skipped out on us, and we all wanted to forfeit. But our coach laid it out straight. Winning and losing are momentary. All that matters is finishing. I'd just like to point out that the score of a football game when you finish is what determines winning and losing. Jason explains that it's been a few weeks since they kicked Rita to the moon, but Zordon has had them on mop-up duty. Mopping up what? Well, it turns out that the dust from Goldar, and I love how Goldar is written in quotation marks, like even this knows that really wasn't Goldar, seeped into the ground and reactivated the putty patrollers, well, Jason calls them putty patrols, and made them stronger. Yellow Ranger, I need a push on my right flank before... Jason, come on now. She has a name. It's Dee Dee. Anyway, Trini here has no idea what a flank is, and Jason narrates that she sees these putties as just practice, and she whacks them with a stop sign. Stop in the name of love. We cut to the rock quarry, and I'd say, of course, a rock quarry. But it was a location that we saw in the movie, so well done there. I've got to give you that one, graphic novel. As Kim, Zach, and Billy fight more putties. Kim says there seems to be more, but Billy points out that they could actually just be fighting the same ones over and over again. And also that they punch too hard for physics. Zach is thrilled, pointing out that if this is how strong the Rangers are now, imagine what's going to happen when they get used to their powers. This is actually what Billy's worried about. He's not even used to his own body, and now he has a superhero body to get accustomed to. Kim just tells him to fake it till he makes it. This transition is a little awkward, mainly because there's not one. We see a family in a van watching the scene and preparing to make a run for it. A putty kicks the van towards a cliff, and then we realize this is all actually happening right where Kim is.
Space is warped and time is bendable.
This scene is great, though, because we see the Rangers act as a team and fail as new superheroes. Kim takes on the putty, Billy grabs the car, and Zach gets the people out. However, likely due to the added weight of Zach's morphed form on top of it, the van slips out of Billy's hands. I love how Zach screams, "Wait!" when the guy falls. Then Billy is standing there holding the tire and says, "This is very bad." Yep, imagine explaining to people, especially the family members that they did save, why Dad had to fall to his death. But no, Kim spots a wire and runs for it. Billy and Zach stare down at the man, who is apparently falling in slow motion. "Hold on, falling Dad!" That sounds like one of those stereotypical Native American names. "I gotcha." Whew, she was just in time. Saved him from getting tangled up in that giant wham. The woman says, "Oh, thank you, Lord, thank you." I think this is going to be a plot point or something for Zach, since we get a close-up on him. Funny thing is, since he's morphed, there's no telling what he's feeling. He could be making this face under his helmet. So, back at the... I really hesitate to call this place the command center, seeing as it's a giant spaceship underground. So I'm going to call it the base ship. It kind of sounds like a play on spaceship. So anyway, back at the base ship, Zordon congratulates the Rangers on their growing control of their powers and says the Goldar dust is growing weaker. So soon, all of this will come to an end. And we need to stop here for a second to talk about Zordon's art style. In the movie, Zordon was essentially a giant pin art wall sticking out from it and moving along it. I will admit that might be tough to convey in sequential art, but instead it looks just like Zordon's on a really staticky television.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture.
The Rangers aren't exactly thrilled with the idea of not needing to be the Rangers anymore. Yeah, I'm not going to say it's been fun beating up on Gumby and the gang, but I've had worse Thursday nights. Worse nights than beating up alien grunts made of stone. And I've got to do it.
I'm scared. That was so random, wasn't it?
Jason tells Zordon they can handle whatever happens. Another quick art note here, I actually really love the Ninja Storm style opening visors. I've always slightly preferred that to full helmetless. That looks like actors just wearing suits, like cosplay. The actors having the helmets on their heads is even more immersive. Anyway, Zordon sends the Rangers off to get some rest, though they point out that really means school, homework, and the barest appearances of a social life. Zordon asks Jason to stay back a moment, and he's kind of a dick to him, though that does fit this version of Zordon's character. He asks Jason if he thinks he can still lead the Rangers. Jason points out that they just saved the world, likely more meaning defeating Rita than this mop-up duty. Zordon says that Jason has been relying on luck rather than knowing his team and using their strengths. To be fair, he did ask Trini to follow his strategy, but hey, maybe Trini's just their Hulk.
Hulk. Smash.
Jason is still incredulous. A few weeks ago, we didn't even know each other, and you're upset because we're not the Beatles yet? Come on, man, you're just fighting putties. You know you're never going to be as big as the Bee Gees. But Zordon reveals the source of his concern. There are bigger, stronger threats coming, especially now that word is out that the Power Rangers are back. So let's cut to something entirely unrelated, or at least we think so at first. Two juvenile delinquents are holed up in what appears to be an abandoned sawmill in Heavenly Hills, 12 miles outside of Angel Grove. The man, Jacob, is nervous about being caught, but his older sister, Aubrey, is less concerned and more angry, saying the cops are too busy dealing with the alien threat, and after they get away, maybe they can come back and watch the town they both hate burn. Jacob wanders around looking for something they can actually sleep on when he finds a putty hanging from the ceiling. "Wow, Aubrey, check it out. I think it's one of those putty things. He reaches up to touch it.
Don't touch me!
And if this is all gold, we're gonna be rich. And just as the scared Jacob expresses a little greed to tarnish his character, tendrils grab him and yank him to the ceiling. His scream seems to carry over to the next page, but this is actually Zach training, and it doesn't seem like the same kind of scream, especially since he appears to be pretty calm. Billy walks in, revealing that Zach is in the ship's training chamber that we saw in the movie. He says Zach isn't getting enough sleep, and seems to suggest Zach is upset about making a mistake earlier that day. And he is. Someone almost grew up without a father today because I lost focus for a second. No you didn't. I looked back. You were helping the little girl get down to the ground. The dad started getting himself out of the car, which is probably what caused it to tilt, and that's what made it fall. I get feeling guilty because someone almost died, but be guilty for the right reason. Do you have any idea what that's like? Yeah, I think I have an idea. For those who haven't seen the movie, in this storyline, Billy's dad died when he was young. So, yeah, he has an idea. Cut to Jason giving Kim a ride home. She's complaining about how her rich parents are worried about the yard while the world is ending, but Jason cuts in with the question about being a good leader. He explains what Zordon said, and Kim's advice is that if he wants the team to listen to him, maybe first he should listen to them. Kim says goodnight to Jason, but he makes his move. He gets close to her and says there's a thing between them, but she wants to hear him actually say the words. He starts to, and then there's an explosion. No, a real explosion. Better. Jason says he has the worst luck, and Kim agrees that it's both of them that do, indicating she does feel the same way and was looking forward to that moment. Jason takes out his power coin, the wind kicks up, and we cut away. I want a morphing sequence. Anyway, we cut back to the secret spyish people as someone reports to Melanie that they've picked up a very strong explosion. She says it's them. The next frame cuts to Jason and Kim, morphed, kind of suggesting that they detected that it was those two morphing. Spoilers, it wasn't. Nice small touch here. Jason says he's going to sweep the perimeter and try to see what they're dealing with. Kim says that they should help the victims first, and Jason listens to her and goes with her. He asks if gray kinda rocky guys did this, but the woman points at the real culprits, the two criminals from before, and now Jacob seems to be half merged with a putty. How did Jacob become half silly putty? Are these two destined to become the new stars on Orange is the New Black? How is Aubrey rocking that orange jumpsuit so well? Find out next time in the second part of the Aftershock review. Before we wrap things up for today, I hope you heroes will allow me a second to plug for a friend who herself is acting as a hero. My good friend Ranger Liz has started an Extra Life team benefiting the Children's Hospital of St. Louis. For those who are unaware, Extra Life is a charity campaign where people primarily play video games for 24 hours, this year on Saturday, November 3rd, to raise money for various children's charities. So if you can, head over to extra-life.org and search for Ranger Liz, join her team Ranger Nation, and donate some money to help her with this excellent cause. That is going to do it for another comically long review. Thank you heroes so much as always for watching. In the comments below, let me know what you thought of the first half of Power Rangers Aftershock, as well as my review of it. Make sure to like the video by clicking that like button right down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to see all of my videos and ring the bell. Get your notifications set up so you can be notified of whenever I post brand new videos like these comically long reviews. And this would normally be where I would ask you to toss some change into my digital tip jar, but benefiting my good friend Ranger Liz, once again, if you were going to donate to my channel for this video, head over to extra-life.org and donate that over to Ranger Liz's Extra Life team instead. Until next time, heroes, may the power protect you. The movie was either mildly... It was pretty mild. The 2017 Power Rangers movie was the fulfillment of a promise by Haim Saban when... The 2017 Power Rangers movie was the fulfillment of a promise by Haim Saban when Saban Brands took the property back over from Disney after repurchasing. The 2017 Power Rangers movie was a difficult sentence to talk about, apparently. However, this is a comically long review, remember? We're reviewing sequential art. Sequential art. Cough out that quenchal. I got a little excess quenchal stuck in my throat. I had to get it out. I kind of found myself wondering if this was parodying... She asks how many displaced they're dealing with. A little under 1,000. Hotels and schools and FEMA, or especially if you have them double or triple up in rooms. Even assuming it's our own little version of Katrina, just with giant monsters. I'm gonna do that a little more. Oh yeah, and I need to note this is a 2. It feels kind of insensitive, even in a work of fiction. It feels slightly insensitive, even in... and calls them for the... Jason explains that it's been a few weeks since they kicked Rita back up to the moon. Not back. We cut to the rock quarry, which I would say, of course, a rock quarry, but the rock quarry wasn't a location as Kim, Zach, and Billy fight more of the putties. If it wasn't a location that we saw in the first movie. Ugh. The woman says, "Oh, thank you, Lord, thank you. I think this is..." And you're upset because we're not the Beatles yet? Come on, man, Kim's advice is that if she wants the team to listen to him... Did she just call Zordon a she? Or Jason? Better. Jason says he has the worst luck, and Kim agrees that it's both of them. How is she rocking that orange jumpsuit so well? Find out why the phone keeps ringing and making me scream. My good friend Ranger Liz has started an Extra Life campaign. Before we wrap up for today, I hope you heroes will allow me a second benefiting the Children's Hospital of St. Louis. Extra Life is a charity. It is a charity. Something interesting I noticed if you've watched this far, on the back cover of the book, it says, "Unleash the Power." That sounds familiar.